So the conservatives are asking the federal government for documents. They want to look into the pandemic. They want to look into the handling of the pandemic. The liberals obviously are not going to want to do this. We'll see what the NDP do. I mean, God only knows these days. I don't want to get into the details of this. Honestly, the details don't really matter for the point I want to make. I want to make one straight up simple point. We are eventually going to have to look at this sooner or later. There's going to be, I don't know what it'll be. It'll be a parliamentary panel. It'll be a blue ribbon task force. It'll be a public inquiry. I don't know. We'll come up with some term for it. We'll probably have provincial versions of all the same as well. But at the federal level, there is going to eventually be a review of this. And there has to be. We're at what? I mean, almost 10,000 dead Canadians. This thing would be our third bloodiest war if this happened in combat. Like, this is a for real thing, and we're going to have to investigate it. The only question is actually when. And with the conservatives saying the time is now, we want to get these documents out there, and the liberals will of course say, well, you know what, we're in the middle of a pandemic, we're not going to want to do this yet. I want to set aside the politics of it all, because obviously the conservatives are doing what oppositions do, and the liberals are going to do what a government does. When are we going to actually start getting to the bottom of this? My overall opinion on the federal government response to the pandemic, the actual public health aspect of it, not getting into the economic side, is that it's been okay. And I'm not normally a booster of this liberal government, and I think calling it okay maybe isn't really much of a boost. But I think in big picture terms, the federal government has generally gotten it right. They definitely, though, have screwed up some of the details, and there is going to have to be accountability. Some of the decisions were weird. Some of the timing was bizarrely delayed. The communications has been terrible. These are things we're going to have to analyze. And I think in the particular Canadian context, we spent 17 years telling ourselves that we were better prepared than anyone because of SARS. We learned the lessons of SARS. Even in January and February, when we weren't sure yet that this thing was going to jump to North America, I was interviewing experts who were around in SARS, and they were telling me, don't worry, we had the SARS experience. We're better prepared than anybody. Well, it hasn't really worked out that way, has it? Yeah, sure, we're doing better than the States, but by any international standard, we're middle of the pack. We're going to have to investigate this eventually. The liberals are going to want to push that off as long as possible. And for now, they're going to be able to say, look, we shouldn't do a full autopsy of this in the middle of the second wave. Okay, but if not now, when? And I'm not asking that question rhetorically. If we're not going to set up a panel to do it now, when are we going to do it? When there's a vaccine? When enough people have been infected by this thing naturally that it doesn't transmit anymore? Will it be insensitive to those who've lost their lives to rush into it the moment a vaccine arrives? This is the biggest event of most of our lifetimes. We need to have a proper, thorough, nonpartisan, expert-led examination of what happened and how we responded to it. I don't know if there's any real benefit to putting that off. So again, I end with that question. If not now, when?